Hello, NR programmers. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to work with components and props in React. So what are components and props? Components are the building blocks of a React app. Simply put, a component is a JavaScript class or function that optionally accepts inputs and returns a React element that describes how a section of the UI should appear. So let's go ahead and write our first React component.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Cool. So to start off with, we have this real simple React app here. It's a simple create React app out of the box. Not much changes to it. And this is how it currently looks in the browser right now. It just says this is our first React app. So we're going to come here. And whenever I'm working with components, something you'll see out there that's somewhat common is to have a components folder. So I went ahead and came here and made a components folder. And for our first component, I'm going to go ahead and call it profile.js. And then once we come here to go ahead and create our React component, so there are a couple of different snippets that are really helpful whenever you're working with React that I highly recommend. Whenever people are working with React, they typically use these. So let's go ahead and go look for that right now. So all you have to do is go to extensions and look for ES7. And this specific extension here, the ES7, React, Redux, etc., has a whole bunch of nice extensions that you can use whenever you're developing your applications. They have stuff for whenever you're importing, exporting, working with Redux, etc. So for our purposes, the only two snippets we're going to be working with is RFCE and RCE, okay? So RFCE, if we do this, it's going to go ahead and create a functional component for us. And if we go ahead and do RCE, that's going to go ahead and create a classical component for us. So both of these do the exact same thing. They just have some minor differences between the two. So with a functional component, it's a stateless component, and it doesn't have access to any lifecycle methods. In a classical component, it does have access to a state, and it has access to all the different lifecycle methods. For the purposes of this specific video, we're not going to go into too much depth for that, but yeah, for our purposes right now, the two components are going to do the same thing. So we're going to work with this specific classical component here, and all we're going to do in it is we're going to say this is Nevram's profile, okay? And just to make this a little bit more fun, I'm going to go ahead and just add some styling onto this, just to, I don't know, make it a little bit more nicer. All right, yeah, so I have a profile here. So these are just a whole bunch of random stylings I put on here. It doesn't really look nice at all, but it'll work for what we're doing right now. And if we come here and open up this up in our browser, as you can see, we still don't see anything from what we just created from our component. To actually see it on here, we have to actually use that component. So it's already exporting it for us on line 9. All we have to do is come to our main component, our app.js, import it right here. So we're going to do import profile from components / profile. And since we're going to be returning multiple elements now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap these in parentheses. And if we come here, I'm just going to add some break tags, just to have a little bit more spacing. And to use our component, all we have to do is come here, and we have like this XML like syntax for it. So we just make a tag, and boom, just like that. Yeah, on our app, our profile should show on our app now. So now it's currently compiling, and it's compiled. If we go here, there's our profile. This is Nevram's profile. So now we went ahead and created our first app. If we wanted to have multiple of these profiles, so this is the nice thing about React. Once you go ahead and create that one component, you can go ahead and reuse it over as many times as you want. So if we come here on our page now, we have 3 of these profiles. This is Nevram's profile. And if we come over to our profile.js, if we wanted to make our component a little bit more dynamic, make it a little bit more helpful for us, we could come here, delete this static Nevram here, and just add this dot props dot name, and the curly bracket is so we could use the variable. Let's come to our app.js, and in here let's actually pass in some props. So for this one, I guess we could pass in LeBron James. For this one, we could pass in Stephen Curry. And for this one, we can pass in Patrick Mahomes. And if we save this, come here, and now we're starting to see the true power of React. You see how dynamic that was? So we created our component, and then we're able to just pass in props with different names and have some dynamic UI shown up. Cool. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.